There's so much stuff floating out there right now about the Sixers having outrageous demands, like wanting 4 first-round draft picks and 3 pick swaps and a young player from the Spurs, they say now. It's like all these deals you hear about is outrageous. Nobody would do it for Ben Simmons. But that's Daryl Morey philosophy.
It's halftime. That was a who was that pledge that was on a podcast? That's all.
That was Kevin O'Connor on the Mismatch podcast. Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer.
So I heard something about a young Spurs player.
That's what I heard.
Which implies a 3-team deal.
No,
that would have
that
included,
was only the Spurs deal.
So that didn't have anything to do with Toronto.
That had zero to do with Toronto. It had to do with the fact that they were mentioning multiple, but they said another deal would be 4 first-round picks, 3 pick swaps, and a young player from the Spurs. That's what it would have cost San Antonio to get Ben Simmons.
I didn't see.
Well, that's ridiculous.
I'm glad you interpreted it because I didn't get that from that. I don't know what I got from it. My head is spinning from what.
There's so much stuff
said.
Floating out there right now about the Sixers having outrageous demands, like wanting 4 first-round draft picks and 3 pick swaps and a young player from the Spurs, they say now. It's like all these deals you hear about is outrageous. Nobody would do it for Ben Simmons. But that's Daryl Morey philosophy.
What, to not deal?
So the Spurs have to come off all of that and a young player?
That's I love Ben Simmons.
Crazy.
I would do a lot of things with the roster that the Spurs currently have to bring Ben Simmons in. And I would exit a couple of starters and a couple of draft picks. I would.
But you wouldn't do 7.
No, I won't do that. I'll do a lot of things, but I have a safe word. I'm not doing that.
What's the safe word?
Well, it's not that.
I feel you.
I'm not going down that road. I don't know what Daryl Morey's plan is, and if his decision is just to screw with the rest of the league and keep Ben Simmons, I have no problem with that. Ben Simmons is that good, but I have a problem with what Morey's doing because he's never going to be great with Joel Embiid. It's just not going to work.
I can't, what am I left with? I got to field the team.
Right.
I got to put a team on the court. He wants to set 8 players.
I wonder which of the young Spurs.
Everybody but Keldon. We've discussed this. Only person that's safe is Keldon, and that doesn't mean anybody sucks or they're not good basketball players, but there's just certain people that you don't mind moving if the right person is available.
Do you think we could, deduce who the Jerry's coming into practice?
No.
Could deduce who the Sixers were chasing because Daryl Morey is such an analytics beast. Who is the biggest analytics beast on the Spurs that really lives to his numbers?
I'm gonna say Derek White is one. I'm gonna think Derek White has pretty good plus minus when he's healthy.
If they were asking for a young Spur and that was one less number one, if it was 3 number ones and some shifts, some switches,
pick swaps,
and they'd throw in Matisse Thybulle, I might talk to you.
Damn, you want Thybulle? He becomes my best defender now that Ben's leaving.
That's why I'm talking. You're going to have to give me both of your defenders. But if I'm not going to be able to shoot, I better be able to defend. I want that point guard, especially if I'm giving one of them up. Now, I might be willing to listen for a couple of number ones, Thybulle and Ben Simmons. I might be willing to listen if that's where Philadelphia sits, because that solves a couple of problems for me. I bring in 2 starters for one, and I've got a superstar point guard that I will not ever require to shoot the way that Philadelphia needed him to shoot.
You're talking about Ben, right?
Yes.
Okay. If I'm Morey, I can't do that. Keep in mind, while it didn't work with Philly, I would still feel like the Spurs need Philly more than Philly needs the Spurs, because Philly has options with Ben.
Yes.
So if I don't like what the Spurs have to say, you're coming after Thybulle, I'm just like, okay, well, I'll call you back. Let me call around. Whereas the Spurs, you're in a situation where, we keep picking 12, we keep picking 13, keep picking 14. We missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. And the year before that, we were bounced in the first round. The Spurs are the ones in desperation. Philly holds all the cards because they have the superstar. Well, not superstar. They have the star. So if I'm going to tell you no to Thibault. But if I don't get anything, if nobody else willing to deal with me, I may come back and contact you. You know how Moneyball goes. You got 5 minutes.
Go.
Hang up.
Now, how many rumors have we heard the Spurs are involved? Now, this is another one with Simmons. We've heard numerous reports that the Spurs are either looking to jump into the higher top 10 or better,
right,
or are more than willing to fall back and grab a couple of late choices for their early.
Now,
that's every possible scenario that the Spurs have been linked to.
Now, you have some people that still think it's 2005, and they'll say, well, if we're hearing stuff about them, then none of it's true. Because the Spurs don't operate like that.
I would have been inclined to believe that until we started putting the pieces together, and there is a definite leak coming out of the San Antonio Spurs. They are letting us know either by design or by deceit that they're actively trying to get something done.
They got a sewer rat.
Kai Jones likes salmon.
Yeah, Kai Jones likes salmon.
They got a sewer rat. They got a big rat.
I don't think it's a rat. I think this is designed. I think that this is the Spurs letting the fandom or somebody inside that organization saying, yes, we fans simmer down.
Wow.
If something doesn't happen, it ain't because of us.
They're leaking.
Like as Jerry is always apt to say, it takes two to tango. We're trying. I mean, everything you're hearing is true. We're talking to people about trading back. We're talking to people about trading forward. We're talking about getting experience. We're talking about whopping deals at 4 number ones. It's all out in front of us. And if something goes, if it doesn't work out, it wasn't for our effort. We sit right now just about, 28 hours away from the draft?
Yes.
Do you see any possibility, as we are today, with all these rumors, that something will happen prior to or during the draft that the Spurs will be involved with?
No, not there. Not that soon. Not this soon. I think they like to do their dirt all by their lonely. Because remember when Kawhi got traded, it was just like out the thin blue. I'm not saying that things aren't going on, but to do it on draft night in front of everybody, that's still not their style.
They're going to draft number 12?
I'm going to say this. There's a better chance of them moving up or back in the draft than it is a huge trade. I'm going to put my hat on them moving up or them moving back more than I am a possible trade tomorrow.
I think the likelihood of a deal getting done is about 20%.
Yeah.
I think that they're doing their diligence, but because they're not gamblers, because they're not accustomed to playing in this part of the pool, they'll winch. They'll flinch.
This part of the pool.
You know what I mean?
I like that.
This is a gambler's game. You got to be willing to say yes when it's time to say yes. And if you flinch, the deal doesn't happen. And they're not accustomed to making these kind of deals. Other GMs are. We don't do it that way. So 20%.
And Daryl Morey is the ultimate gambler.
Yes, and Morey is driving that deal. What are you talking about? 4 number ones and position swaps and starters and a young Spurs stud. You're crazy. That's Daryl Morey playing too hard a poker against a team that needs a little bit of a nudge to get things done.